and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, you have a copy of the June 14th minutes in front of you. A chance to read over those. I hear a motion for an approval.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We'll move on tonight to our reports. Andy?
Right underwater, the plant's treated 585,720 gallons of water since the 14th. Our average daily usage is down to 41,837. Filters were backwash on the 16th. June back T-test is complete and was absent. And we repaired one meter pit. Been performing daily checks at the lift station and the ponds and the SSO during rain events. We did run the lift station on the generator during that last big rain event we had. Sewer plant's open and we are discharging. We had some issues with the new chlorine scales not working properly. Living Waters was out today and was able to make the repairs without sending the unit back to the manufacturer. Weekly sewer samples are complete. The May wastewater report's complete. It's been sent to IDEM. I talked about this the last meeting. I'd like the council to consider purchasing a pump station pilot for the main lift station with our remaining grant funds. I've attached the old quote, which is close to the current pricing. I was hoping to have that here tonight, but I talked with Steve Brock, and whether we use the $5,800 or not, it's not, our payment is not going to change, not a penny. So, you know, with that pump station pilot, I didn't print the whole manual out for you guys, but we'll be able to run the lift station remotely from any cellular device, tablet, computer. If I'm not in town, there's a problem. You know, we don't have a dialer on the lift station now if there's a problem. I mean, I go out there in the storm, I have to go check it because I don't know what's going on with it, but we'll be able to monitor our wet well level, be able to turn pumps on manually, remotely, turn them off. It will, you can set it up to call you or send a text message if there's a pump failure, a seal failure on pump. And it's, I mean, basically everything you can do standing at that lift station, you will be able to do remotely from any, you know, computer, tablet, or device.
You say this amount was
That quote,
from your previous quote?
it
is
was
that
the
correct?
previous quote, yeah.
Can you get us a current quote on that?
Yeah, I called him, I was trying to get it today, but he wasn't in, from Covalent.
I do know we have grant funds left over from our
Right.
project that we can't hang on to, my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, Raleigh.
No, we can just.
We either spend it or
We
don't.
spend it or we lose it.
What
So,
kind of timeframe have you talked to Amy? You need them to approve it tonight contingent upon it doesn't exceed what's in the grant?
Well, it's gonna exceed what's in it a little bit, if you look at the quote. I mean, we've got about $5,800 left, and it's around $6,000. And the other thing to look at on there, I mean, there is a cost associated with running it for the cellular. There's two different choices there. There's the cellular service only, and then there's a service with the warranty. The monthly maintenance fee, they will do any repairs to it regardless, hit by lightning, anything, with the exception of the transducer. There's a transducer in there that's considered a consumable part, and that is what measures only the water level in the wet well. I mean, it's similar to the transducers we use at the water plant, at the water tower. And that part, it will wear out over time. They're about $300. I mean, we had to replace one earlier this year at the water tower. It's considered a consumable part. That is the only thing that the warranty does not cover. And this is if the town ever wanted to expand and do things later, this system is expandable. I mean, you could even, via radio, you could hook, they have a transmitter, it's close enough, if the town ever wanted to, you could hook the meters in at the sewer plant to this and be able to read them online. And monitor what was going on, even at the sewer plant. And so it's an expandable product. And when you compare this, when we did the project originally, we were gonna put a dialer on there. The state had talked to us about having a dialer because we don't have any type of alarm system if there's a problem. And the cost of the project, when the bids came in, the dialer is one of the things we took off. And just a phone dialer like we have at our water plant, which basically just calls you and tells you there's a problem and you've got to drive out and look at it, was gonna cost us almost $16,000 in the project. And this is, I know, I've looked at this product twice when I've gone to my last two conferences. It's pretty impressive. It's all self-contained in a box about this big that will mount next to the control panel that's there. And then they'll hook their unit into the controls on the lift station that we have. Like I said, I mean, I could be sitting here now. He had one set up with a control panel and showed us how it worked, but you know, I could get on my phone or computer right here and turn the pump on at the lift station. So it's really pretty slick for what's involved. They've created a project that's very competitive as compared to other products and what it's available to do at the price point. I can get that to your mailboxes as soon as I get the new quote back.
And that's included in the 6,000 that you're talking about?
That's total price, installed out the door. Yes. All right, and moving on to the streets, spoken with Endeavor about the remaining repairs, and I can't get an answer. All I keep getting is, well, they won't call us back. They won't call us back. I sent them an email, they won't call us back. Well, we still have street and alley repairs, and some of the street repairs that they've already made are failing. I mean, we ain't made it out of summer, let alone on, beyond that. And I think we need to look at having the repairs completed and billing the phone company, or, it's all in our agreement. They've had more than enough time. It's been over a year. So I don't know if you guys want to have a meeting with the phone company, Fred, if you want to call, the president that was at, our meeting, or call Jay, but
One of those guys who's.
we need to do something. We gave them the deadline on the street repairs, and they still haven't finished them. They've just gone right on by.
I noticed a couple of, lines out of the ground.
Oh, yeah, there's those two. I've called and complained, I went around with him again, and, I know that Matt's not the final say. I mean, he's been very nice going around, he's made the list, he's sent it in, he's included me on some of these emails that he sent to CSU, but they're not doing anything. They're off on their next job, and this is just left to fall by the wayside.
CSU, the contractors that did this?
Mm-hmm.
Endeavor had a fairly new CEO, and I met him, and I got
I have to bring it in here, but I've also got, well, I'll have to go back to my office and I'll get it after the meeting, but I've also got the confidentiality agreement. They dropped off all the grants plans, everything for all that, but there is a confidentiality agreement that we told them we would sign. I've got it in my office, I'll get it to you after the meeting so Aaron can look at it, but I've got two originals. They'd like to get them both signed, and then that way we both have an original. And then, last on streets, I had a complaint. They came into town hall about the alley east of Central Street. Okay? The residents complaining about fences built in the alley on both the north and south ends. Also about sheds in the alley, people storing stuff in the alley, and the final complaint is about a camper that's partially in the alley that people have been living in for over a year. I told them that these to be council issues. I'd inform you. I don't think that they all thought I would. I've investigated what they said. Everything they said is true. Everything they complained about is a violation. But I explained to her, I'm not the police, and ultimately, the issue about the alley is a council issue. So, I'll let you know.
Now, you're talking about the one where, behind Dillon.
All the way, from that end all the way down
Let
to,
me have your input in this, because
yep,
I've had people come and talk to me about it in the past.
yeah,
And a lot of people up through there, in fact, just about all of them, feel that they've been grandfathered in. They've been there for so long, and their garages and
No garages.
sheds, well,
No
you know,
garages.
they have been there for so long, they think it's theirs.
well, here is the deal.
And I don't know,
And this is state law. You cannot, under any circumstance, take adverse possession of town property, period.
Yep.
It don't matter if you mow it for 200 years, it don't matter if you have something parked on it, in it, it doesn't matter. And here is the problem with the person that's complaining, because I was the building commissioner, I was not the building commissioner for these previous incidents. They wanted to build in the alley, I stopped them. They wanted to fence the alley, I stopped them. This alley has utilities in it for about 85% of the length of it. One end does not have utilities. But everything, starting at the house that I stopped them from building in the alley, all the way south has utilities in it the whole way. But you cannot take adverse possession of town property. Aaron can verify that. We've had this conversation before.
Yeah, not only that, John, but also Atlanta was platted out before it was built. And so it's not like the alley wasn't there and then they put the house there and then we came through with the alley. The alleys were laid out before any of this was built. And so that's always been an alley, and simply because the town hasn't chose to pave it or something doesn't mean that you can just willy-nilly go into it. We've allowed some people to encroach, but we've told them if they do so, and we need to, for whatever reason, go down that alley, they've got to move it out at their own expense, or else we'll move it and we'll bill them for it.
where would a town utility truck, how would you even get back here without having to cross?
Through the alley?
You don't, through the alley or other streets. There's streets and alleys that go to the alley all the way down through there. There's
There's an
one,
alley across
there's
from
two, there's two streets, and there are 2 alleys that go back to, I think that's right.
So what looks like driveways.
Well,
Some of them, I thought they were driveways.
Yeah, some are
No,
driveways.
those are streets and alleys. They're both, there's a mix.
Yeah, I think this was all platted in the 1880s and 1890s, so it's been quite some time that it's been set up that way.
And her other complaint, which I told her was a civil matter, she's complaining that her neighbor put a fence on someone else's property. And I said, that's between the 2 property owners, has nothing to do with us.
That's
Yeah.
a civil problem.
It is, that's what I told them, but I just,
Was that cornfield, are they on legal ground behind that alley, you know, that farm?
they're outside the alley, that's what she's
So
talking
they're not
about.
encroaching on the,
They're in the cornfield. No, they're talking about people who build stuff on the next adjoining property, and I said, not my issue.
now, I've never been back there, and.
I have, because I had a complaint about
Some of those
Ross.
people's, are they way in the alley, or are they just? you
No,
know,
they're completely covering it.
You're kidding.
They're beyond the alley and into the cornfield. And I had a complaint about raw sewage, which I also went and investigated. I found to be unfounded. She said it had been discharging before, but we'd had a lot of rain. I could find nothing, and that was from the camper. They also called the Hamilton County Health Department, because the health department called me, and I told them I had investigated it. They came out and investigated it, and found a holding tank, that everything is discharging into a holding tank, but didn't find anything leaking. They did say there was a smell, but they didn't find anything that they considered a violation at this time. And I told them, you know, the same, when I had investigated it, I didn't see any type of sewage, I didn't see anything leaking out, running out.
And they had to empty the holding tank somewhere.
Yeah, so I don't know. But it's not on the ground. That's, I verified that.
But people are living in it.
Which I think Murray is addressing. I passed that along to him, because there is an ordinance about that. That there's a time frame spelled out. you'd have to verify with him, but I believe it's 6 months is the maximum time. I know this came up once before when John was our attorney several years ago. That 6-month thing sticks in my mind, but I pass that along to him. But,
Is Murray the officer that would address this?
yeah, for,
Getting the alley
For the
cleared?
trailer.
no, that's
No.
gonna be,
Camper.
well, it would be, but it would be, the decision's gotta come from, it could partially be both of us, but the decision, ultimately, the decision's coming
From us.
from you folks.
Okay.
And
On
if
how
that's
we-
the route you're going, I would say spend the money to have it surveyed, because then the argument is over.
I was starting to say, we're gonna have to have a new survey, or? we-
Yeah, we only know where some of them are at, where some of the bins are at down through there.
So then the best route right now would be go ahead and get the survey done, so we know where we're at, where everything's at, and then, go from there,
If
right?
that's what you're gonna do.
I guess the first decision is, do you feel there's a need other than the trailer to clear the alley, or are you okay with it for now?
Well, I personally feel, you know, I don't have any problems with it back here. Now, I understand some people, you get in these kind of situations where they don't like the neighbor or
Is there
this
a
guy
fire
down there,
hydrant?
you know, and so they start
Fire
pinpointing.
hydrant, no.
But if everybody, you know, has pretty much got along with it, but then, there's a lot of ordinances, you know, fire and utilities and,
I think Aaron brought up a point that I'd like to touch on, as far as the fences go, the ones that are already there, and they've been there for,
Years.
yeah, a few years. I can't give a definite date, how long, I want to say 5 at least. If there are utilities there, that fence goes over the top of it.
One is and one is not. I'll let you know right now.
Okay,
The north end, no. The south end, yes.
okay.
The south end is across the sewer.
In the event that we would need to access those utilities, that fence would need to be moved.
And the other one, which is another property Murray's been dealing with on the south end, you can't even get to the manhole. There is a manhole back there and you can't even get to it. But that's at the south end.
You know, if the fence needed to be moved, the property owner would, you know.
Have to deal with
have
it.
to deal with it, because it is on town property. But in the meantime, I don't see that it's a huge issue. Fence is already there.
We've had to deal with this year after year after year after year. In all the years I've been on board, it's been every year.
Well, she's mad at me, and I told her, I said, I wasn't the building commissioner. I'm sorry.
Right.
And I told her, I'm referring to you guys.
no, this is not her first visit in here.
No, it's not.
No,
And she's upset because of
I'll tell you this,
things.
she's done her homework. I think she went online and read all our ordinances and everything, because
That's good. That's what people need to
she
do.
was prepared.
Well, you know, an unimproved alley, just like our right of way, we can go in there at any time and say, get your stuff out of it because we need it. But at the same time, if it's not bothering us, we can leave the situation be and just, they understand that at
That's
some point we can tell them.
kind of what I tried to explain to her. I said, if the
Yeah.
town ever needs to do anything at any time, no matter what it is, the town can make them remove it,
Yeah,
is what I tried to explain.
I think the problem that I see most of the time is that you'll have one person, one resident, who kind of has a personality conflict with this one.
Well,
And
Right.
so this one blocking their view or whatever, you know.
Actually, they have a
And
gripe
then
with
there's
Andy.
yeah.
Well, no, I think, no, it's not great me, well, it kinda is, I mean, I think she's upset, I think they're both upset because when it came time to build something, I enforced the ordinance. I mean, that's.
Then they came up here and we enforced it too.
That's it in a nutshell, the ordinance was enforced, but the neighbor's not complying with the ordinance and they were forced to comply with the ordinance, that's her beef.
And that's hard to argue with.
I know,
very hard.
that's why I'm passing it to you.
Well, thanks a lot.
That's-
You know, I feel like if everybody can live with the situation back there now, I mean, I personally don't want really start making people move everything and all, you know. But at the same time, like Fred said, you know, that we do have some utility lines back here. We have to have access to that. As long as
And they will
then
be-
people realize that, should we have to go in there? It might mean that they have to remove a fence or a little barn or whatever, and it will be moved at their expense immediately.
Isn't there kind of the same situation out here in Hopkinsville, or what, Windacre, that between the houses on County Line and Michael Drive, aren't there fences over utilities
all
back there?
Oh, in the back there?
Yeah,
Yeah, we were gonna run
Maybe.
our storm drain back there initially in the plan.
Uh-huh.
There's a storm easement that goes part of the way back
all right,
and then cuts over to tie into a storm drain.
okay.
And we went out front because there are fences over it,
So, I
and
mean-
there's a shed
Yeah,
on it also.
so this isn't the only place in town that there's
Well,
been
no.
encroachment.
No,
Okay.
I told them I would
If-
address it because they came right here and
Well, you know, there's a house for sale,
Yeah.
right there, you know.
that's a
And
street.
that, when they sell that, I'm sure if they haven't had it done already, there's gotta be a survey.
Oh, it's there.
And,
Well, there won't be, but
Well,
it's
their
there.
advisor will have a survey done, I'm sure, but what I'm saying is, whoever does it, whenever, whoever, I don't want it to include that alley behind it. There's an alley behind that house.
They know it.
They know it is.
That's why that was a different neighbor and a whole different situation, because I already got the complaint about that house too. I let him build the deck in the street, and it's not. Because I know where the survey pins are, we measured the whole thing out, I made him shrink the deck, that deck is smaller than it was gonna be, so that it would meet the setback. So, she already came at me with that complaint too, and it's legitimate.
Well, and there is a difference between things that were built without our permission that are already in that alley, and then things that we found out about, like they came to Andy and the start, and Andy saying, no, you can't do that. Because in one instance, we're finding something and saying, do we need to make them move it? Another instance, we're not giving them permission to put something else there. So it's not quite apples to apples, what the argument she's making.
Linda?
You have a question?
I was just going to ask if, whatever you decide, can a letter be sent to those residents that have stuff in the alley and say, this is what the town board has decided, this is what the ordinances are, and then there will be no questions about it?
I suppose that could happen, yes.
I have a question. My concern though, from what you guys are talking about, is if you're gonna set a precedence and let somebody get away with something, and not make them abide by the rules, what happens when the next person does it and it causes an issue? They're gonna come back and say, well, you know, how are you gonna enforce it on me, but you're not gonna enforce it on those people there? You know, when I built my house out there, I went to Andy and asked Andy, what do I have to do to accommodate the rules of the town? And you can ask him. I mean, I said, whatever I need to do, and I'll do it at my expense. You know, and because I play by the rules. So if you're gonna let somebody get away with something that another person can't, you know, that's really not fair. I mean, if you got rules, we need to abide by the rules, and you can't set precedents.
I hear what you're saying, but 5 years after the fact, 7 years after the fact, I mean, that's,
You know,
that
if you
puts us
come-
in a,
if
that
you
puts us
come-
in a
15.
kind of a odd position.
But if you come to me at any of my 3 houses here, or 2 houses here in town and say, hey, I've got an easement going down my house over here on Adams Street. You know, if you come to me and say, hey, this isn't right, well, I'm sorry. I mean, I know that's the rules, and I'm gonna fix it. Even though I may not have put it there the previous owner did, but the rules are the rules. I mean, the town can't function on some rules and not others. You know, it's gonna get to the problem, you're gonna give yourself enough slack, and it's gonna bite you in the butt. You know, and if you have something going down an alley, and if we have a fire back there, we need to get apparatus back there. I don't have time to sit there and take the fence down because I got somebody burning in a trailer. You know, that's kind of the thing, we talked about that before.
I know what you're saying, but at the same time, from my point of view, is that it'd be very easy to say, well, this is what town rules or ordinances says, everybody must abide, regardless how long you've been there. But at the same time, I feel like the town board, you know, we all care about this community, and I think it has to be a little hard, there's gotta be a little give and, push and shove and give and take. And I hate to see all those people on through there to incur a lot of price to move a building 6 inches or a foot or how much ever it is, or updo their whole fence with the notion that we as a town know that that alley is not gonna be used hardly at all. And as far as I know, I've been there 40 years, there on Central, and I've never seen the town ever have to do anything back there in that alley that I'm aware of, that require people to move the fence or whatever.
Is this the alley that, by that little white house that was for sale?
It's the,
Where the A-frame is,
yeah,
the A-frame north.
We did sewer extension back there.
yeah, well, I know we've done
I'm
a little
more
work
worried
back
about
there,
the
but
camper with people living in it and something happening to that than,
Yeah, because
and
that's,
having somebody get to it.
you know, and that's the concern, because especially if you have a fire issue here, I mean, that puts the department behind the 8 ball to begin with there.
Well, and if they've been living there for a year, there's a problem.
well, this is from Central and behind the house to the alley. I don't see why, you know, if there is a fire, the fire can handle that from the front. I mean, I couldn't understand why they would have to go in the back. There's no water back there anyway, you know. But all I'm saying is this, I'm not trying to argue with anybody, but this has been going on for a long, long time. And with other board members, with other boards in the past. And it's my personal opinion is that if these people are willing to live with the situation and get along with it, and with the understanding that they know that should we have to go in there to do any kind of town work, if they got any kind of property in the way, they have to move it. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. Or if they can live with that, I can live with that. But if we get into this thing where this guy does this and this guy does that, so we're gonna make everybody, there's a lot of homes up down that alley, a lot of homes. I don't know how much people are encroached on the alley. I don't know, I've never been down through there. But I hate to see somebody have to spend a couple $1,000s to move a barn or a shed or whatever, a fence, you know, for something trivial. I feel like it's trivial. I might be out in left field, I don't know. I could be. I mean, I just think we have a lot on our plate right now, this town does. There's a lot of things going on, and I just don't feel like, you know, we need to start another war that possibly can't be won. I mean, I don't know, that's my opinion.
I have to agree with you.
There's things going on that are that's gonna, could be detrimental to the whole community, this whole town. And I'm willing to take on new stuff, but, you know, I don't wanna get in a tit for tat situation and, you know, that kind of thing. We don't have the time or the money or the inclination to, I don't anyway.
I think that it could get really deep if you, I mean, it's one thing to set up from this point forward, you know,
Yes.
we're not gonna do that, but if you do that,
I'm
then
already,
you're gonna.
I'm already doing that, and that's what
Right,
that's what
but
I told her. I
What I'm
said,
saying is, it'll be a can of worms, because then you're gonna be, well, this person didn't get variance for that, this person, you know, didn't do that, and you're gonna have to, I mean,
Deal
it
with
is a can of
everybody's.
worms if you're gonna go back on everything
Yeah.
that did not happen the right way.
Like I said, I'm more worried about this family living in the camper, and if they've been there for a year,
That's an.
anything could happen in that in a camping.
I'm referring to you.
It's in the zoning ordinance, Rick Pfeiffer showed it to me sometime.
Tell them to come to a board meeting.
I did.
Yeah.
I told them I would tell them, because they didn't think I would.
So you have
There you
You
go.
have.
10 minutes.
All right.
And something else, then before you go on further, if these people come back and make more complaints, I would suggest that, you know, you might tell them, look, if you're helping get something done, come up to the town meeting
Oh, I did.
and talk to the council.
That's what I'll tell them again. I'll tell
It
them.
makes our situation a lot easier when you have people right out here.
I will
And,
tell them that if they want to talk about it, you've requested, they come to the board.
I personally am not a person who likes to send out letters and try to explain things on paper. up front, eye-to-eye type guy. And,
Person to person.
yeah, and, but that's neither here nor there, but
No. Miscellaneous, we've received our settlement agreement from our insurance company, it's attached. I'm not sure that I agree with it, but I don't know how much you wanna argue with it. There's stuff. The sewer plant was one of them. I mean, it's not gonna be immediate, but it's gonna need a new roof, and they're trying to tell me, I wanna talk to Triad, that's why I don't know if you wanna wait on taking this settlement or not. They're trying to tell me that it was damaged during installation, and I just don't buy that. But it comes to, if you look on the last page, it comes to about 13,000 and some change. We get the first check for 12,000, right around $12,000, and then because of this depreciation clause we have in this replacement cost clause, we get the other 1,800 and some dollars after the repairs are made. But once we take the check, we have 180 days, and if we don't hit the 180 days from signing the check, we lose the 18 million.
Do we have estimates on the repairs?
Do not. I was waiting to hear back from them to see what they were gonna say. And they just, when they were out here that day and I went around with him, he said, I'll get back with you, and this just came. She called me 2 days ago and said, I have this, and what's weird, I didn't understand, the adjusters have the check. And there's a form there, well, I've got a copy for Robin to have, I mean, to put in the file, but it's got the one that you, Fred, would have to sign before taking that. So,
I would like to see some estimates on the repairs to see how that compares to the
Sure.
adjuster's estimate before, we can make a decision on
that's fine.
whether that's
I can let
sufficient.
her know that we're waiting on estimates from our own contractors to see where it comes
If we're
out.
well within,
Right.
if that will cover the cost, then so be it.
Okay. Yeah, I'll make some calls and get some stuff together and have it before the,
And you know the hailstorm we had, I mean,
right,
Bad.
it was bad.
and before the next meeting.
yeah, that 12,000 sound like it was on the low side to you.
Yeah, and like I said, some of the things that they say weren't damaged, I did not get an estimate from them yet. I did have one contractor looking at them. And,
Rough estimate.
well, no, I didn't even get that, but we went around and just looked at stuff that was damaged, and like this adjuster, one of the things I don't agree with, and the shelter house is the one in particular that I don't agree with. We're getting 0 on it, it's not even on the list. You can see it from the ground, and he tried to tell me that it's an abrasion in the oxidation on the shingle. And I'm like, I mean, there's like, they're everywhere. So that's why I said, and of course, I don't know, it's just funny that the biggest roof that we have has 0 damage. They signed off on this one here, and the gazebo, but not the shelter house. I mean, it is
Somebody
odd.
else looked at it and
Did
said,
that
that's
in the
hail
open?
damage.
Well, this one contractor did, but I don't have anything in writing from you. That's why I'm saying there's some stuff I don't quite agree with, and there's some, there's,
Who is our insurance company? Do you know? I didn't see it.
Walker.
this is Walker and Associates, but that's it's in that packet I gave you. That is the, yeah, they're the adjusters they sent out to look at it, and some of them I looked at with him. Some we agreed on and some we didn't, That was just kinda how it was. The funny one, which I agreed neither one of us even saw, there was nothing on the water plant. But it's all over the place at the Ball Diamond. But they went with the Ball Diamond. It's on those estimates.
Bruce next to me, and he went with the same guy that's all over town here, and they estimated $19,500. And that's, his house is like 13 years old, one single roof. And of course, I know it depends on who your insurance company is too,
Right.
But I just can't see they're giving you this much hard time with that shelter house. You know,
I don't know, that's what
I know
said.
that they get paid in the
That'd be
same
your largest claim.
It would be, it's the
That'd be your
biggest,
largest claim.
it's the biggest one.
And that's, you know,
That's
that's how
why-
they're working it. They're be more than happy to fix something smaller. It will.
Well, and that's
you know,
kinda like they say they always look for other evidence, you know, other things that are damaged along with it. That's the one that gets me about the sewer plant. The roof is beat up, and you can see from the direction of the wind, the way the skip marks are on the roof, the way it hit in those winds. But the brand new gutters, they got dents all over them. And they're trying to say that it was from installation.
But the water leads are not real wide where they, usually that's an indication that your roof is old, you know.
Well, the roof's brand new.
Brand new.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's what I told
That's
them,
why.
it's all beat up, and I'm like, this roof's brand new, and that was one of the things, I was waiting to get their list, because I didn't know what they were saying was and wasn't until I got this today, printed it out. And that's what, tomorrow I want to contact Triad, because Triad may have pictures of it, they took pictures of different, you know, came out and took pictures, so I'm hoping the roof is one of the things that they photographed, so I can say, hey, look here,
This is, this was last
it
year.
wasn't like this.
Yeah.
All right, and then last week, we repaired the leaks of the ball diamond, replaced or repaired the toilets, and there's one more valve to replace, and the concession stand and everything will be operational. So,
Seen some activity down there too.
yeah, they're having tournaments tonight and tomorrow, actually.
Good.
Then under building, we had one building inspection, one final inspection, issued one building permit, just received 2 more applications for permits. Had one permit inquiry, one zoning inquiry, and then I had contacted 2 different contractors for bids on demolition at 315 South Railroad, and then also the Kane property, and I hope to have those by next week.
Good. Good.
Get them.
We can move on that. Yeah.
That's all I have unless you have any other questions.
Don't have anyone. Officer Murray's absent tonight. Code enforcement. Robin, do you have anything to report this evening? Okay, we'll move on to old business. Any old business tonight? Okay, new business.
The ordinance, we had to put this together. This is required by legislation. It's designed to make certain that we have a procedure in place to track who has access to on behalf of the town, and that way, if one, it prevents theft or fraud, and 2, it gives us a way that if something were to happen, we could track it back to knowing at what stage who had possession. The terms of this were pretty much dictated by a statute. We have to have this in place by July 1. And the ordinance that I put together just tracks the statute and the provisions it requires. This ordinance is really similar a few years ago when we had to do the, what was that? The ordinance on nepotism, where it set out this kind of backbone, and then after July we can adopt a policy that's more aimed at the specifics of our town. Some of this is going to be overkill because Atlanta doesn't have a huge amount of employees to track and try to deal with, and of its employees there's only a couple that ever touch the money. So our policy is going to be a lot simpler than some communities would be. But in terms of the provisions that we have to adopt, we don't have much leeway. It's just following the statute.
Aaron, do we need to adopt this tonight and pass this?
Yes.
Next action? Do I hear a motion tonight that we adopt ordinance number 06-2016-3?
I make a motion, we accept it.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Pass this down for signatures. Thank you. Any other new business tonight? All right. I hear a motion. Sign the claims and adjourn the meeting.
Make a motion, to sign the claims and adjourn the meeting.
I hear a second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Brendan, you guys give me an update on the fire fair?
We're still, a lot has transpired in the last few days. Nothing is final yet. We're close.
Are we on the July 1st deadline still?
I think so. That's the goal. That's the idea, July 1st, yeah.
So what are we doing with the fire department? Are we gonna establish our own?
Are we starting the meeting back up?
Yeah, it's a discussion.
Currently, the territory's still in town.
So they're running out of Arcadia still.
As of tonight, yes.
But July 1st, where are they gonna run out of?
Can't say for sure yet.
And who's gonna be in charge?
Who's gonna be in charge?
Who's the chief?
Right now, Steve White's the chief, Jackson Project, and nothing has been determined. Yeah, we need to